to the WrestleMania edition of the Gimmick Minute Wrestling Podcast. I'm Jason. I'm joined by Kevin. We may have a third man joining us at some point this episode. I know we always talk about a third man, tease a third man, but I got a couple invites out there, so we may have a special guest
Whose
joining
side is
us.
he on?
Well, if history serves me correct, it's never my side, but we'll see what he hops on. But for now, it's me and Kevin, and it is WrestleMania time. So we are live on YouTube right now. We are also going to have this broadcast on Apple, Spotify, and wherever else you can listen to a podcast. So make sure you hit that subscribe, that follow button. You can find out all about when our podcast goes live or when we record episodes or anything else that we talk about. If you follow us on X, it's at Live Your Gimmick. It's the at symbol followed by LIVYOURGIMMICK. Without further ado, we're not going to talk anything about AEW tonight, especially after last week when the whole thing happened with Hook getting sick in the ring after being concussed.
I know we didn't want to talk about AEW at all this week. All right, but I was just thinking to myself earlier. I was like, I got to bring up just one thing real quick, and then we'll move on. I don't even want to elaborate.
All right.
But it was just, and I don't know who it was that posted it on X or whatever. But the ending of it last night, the main event was the trios titles match, which for some reason Mox was a part of the trios title match. I don't know what happened to Pac. Doesn't matter, right?
Freebird rules.
Yeah. So the ending of it, the ending of it was kind of cool. Young Bucks came out, and then all of a sudden Swerve came out, and they got a big pop or whatever, and took them out. That was kind of cool or whatever. But what was weird is that Samoa Joe choked out Mox, the world champion, right?
Okay.
And that's what ended up happening for them to win. But the funniest comment was from whoever it was the entire AEW locker room just emptied to celebrate this win. It was, because the Death Riders are anti AEW and all that. Literally, 5 people came out from the locker room. Will Ospreay, and then 4 or 5 other people. I had no idea who they were, and they sprayed champagne it was. I don't know.
So it was the entire babyface locker room.
Yeah, I guess so.
But he didn't win the world title. They just won the trios championship.
It was just kind of weird. I'll give kudos to the crowd at some points last night. Were hot and that was good and everything, but it just kind of was whatever. Fuck it.
I didn't watch last night's episode.
It doesn't matter. It's just WrestleMania week. So
I got behind, and then I ended up watching NXT today, which I thought the NXT show was actually pretty good. The go home, just stand and deliver.
I tried watching. I tried starting to watch last night, but then I got tired or something, wasn't feeling that great or whatever, and I didn't go to bed, so I didn't get to watch. I started watching a little bit of it, but I didn't get to finish it. So,
well, I guess we get that. That's WrestleMania week. That's WrestleMania weekend. Don't mind Kevin's dogs. He's pretty quick on the mute button there. Appreciate that. So, with NXT coming up this weekend, so since we're waiting to see if our third person joins, so maybe to delay a little bit getting to talking about WrestleMania, we could do take a quick second and run through Stand and Deliver and just kind of talk about what that card is looking like and kind of go from there.
And I'll just apologize for any dog barking. Okay, not that anybody cares, but wife, daughter, or house sitting, and I'm recording from a different area, so I'm around the dogs. Normally, when I record, I'm in the basement. The dogs are upstairs with the wife, and that's not the situation. So I apologize for any barking.
But
Did you notice this arm right here is up because
can't even see that arm, Kev. It's not even in frame at all.
Okay, well, arm is tilted up and thumb is right by mute button just in case. So
okay, all right, we'll appreciate that. But your connection's a little bit better. We can hear you a little bit more clear, so that's good at least. So. All right, so let's run through Stand and Deliver real quick. So you said you didn't get a chance to watch the end of it, so it basically, or you didn't watch all of NXT. But the way the show worked, I mean, it was pretty good. They touched on all the different matches. There was a really good backstage brawl between that new group of Dark State and the D'Angelo family. It
Hmm.
was, I mean, it was kind of weird because D'Angelo family showed up. So Tony wasn't there because Stax called the play, and it was Stax and Lucifino and a whole bunch of just like jabroni like rent-a-gangsters just around the whole thing, and they all kind of attacked the four guys of Dark State, which, you know, D'Angelo's had the upper hand at first, and they kind of fought their way inside, and one of the members of Dark State stayed outside. But then what happened was, like, I guess the other jabronis just basically got their asses kicked by the one guy outside. So then it was a 4-on-2 advantage when they got inside. And then they fought apparently to the other side of the warehouse because they were back outside in a different parking lot. And Tony pulled up with a crowbar and went to town, and then the cops showed up, but Tony was like, "Oh, don't worry about the cops. I called them. There are people," or something like that. You know, acting like he had the cops in his pocket. But it was cool. But that set up, there's gonna be a 6-man tag at Stand and Deliver between the D'Angelo family and Dark State. So this Dark State thing is interesting. It's a little weird. Because it seemed like they were really involving themselves in the main event, because they kept going after Oba and Trick and Javon Evans. But now they have this thing with the D'Angelo family, so maybe that kind of pulls them out of the main event, so they're not a factor in that. I almost thought that maybe like Javon or Trick or somebody like that might have had some sort of affiliation with Dark State, and that's where they were maybe going with it. But it doesn't seem to be that way. But and then they did a gauntlet match, a tag team gauntlet match, where Hank and Tank ran the gauntlet to earn a shot against Fraxium. So this is kind of the way the card's looking at. We got a number one contenders fatal 4-way elimination women's tag team championship. So the show's going to kick off. 4 teams are going to compete for a future WWE tag team championship shot. It's going to be Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade, Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson, Fatal Influence, Fallon Henley and JC Jane, and then Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley are going to be in that match. It was kind of weird because Roxanne was looking for like a place on Stand and Deliver, and then finally she kind of got forced into teaming with Cora Jade because they're kind of on the outs. But the winning team gets the number one contender shot for the women's tag team championships. I gotta think it's gonna be Roxanne and Jade, because I feel like Roxanne's the closest one to getting called up.
I mean, that'd be my prediction, I guess.
Yeah.
Even as an outside, yeah.
It seems to make the most sense. Now, I don't know if Cora Jade's really ready yet. Like, Cora Jade's run in NXT has been a lot of start and stop. She had the knee injury that kept her out for a while. Then she had some enhancements done that kept her out for a while. And then when she kind of got back, she was hurt again and was out for a period of time. Like, she's been very, very start stop. But her feud with Roxanne Perez has always been kind of a constant. They have kind of like a Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens vibe. They go back and forth a little bit with whether or not they're friends or enemies and stuff like that. So, yeah, I thought it was kind of interesting how they set that up. But yeah, I mean, it only makes sense to me. Lash and Kira have had tag team championship shots. Fallon and JC Jane, I don't think have the names, and unfortunately I don't think Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley do either. Tatum Paxley is just always like, she keeps constantly having opportunities but never quite makes the most of them. And then we got the 6-man tag match, D'Angelo family versus Dark State. I gotta feel like Dark State's gonna win this though, right? Because they're the new team. They're trying to build them. The D'Angelos kind of have a little bit of a rift between Stax and Tony.
Yeah, I can see, D'Angelo, family winning. So.
Okay. And then we got the NXT Tag Team Championship match between Fraxium and Hank and Tank. I mean, I feel like Hank and Tank at this point have to win. Like, I guess Fraxium has been on such a run that I guess the last team I would have pictured to unseed them would be Hank and Tank. But at this point, somebody's got to beat them. They want a gauntlet match to get there.
Hank the Tank.
Man. Yeah, Hank Walker, Tank Ledger, and their what is it? Their catchphrase is honk honk. I mean, these guys are just walking gimmicks. But I mean, they got a lot of intensity. They get the crowd going, stuff like that. They're pretty over. But both Frazier and Axiom have had matches on the main roster as of late. So I got to think maybe they're on their way up too, possibly.
Yeah, it's hard to say just because, I mean, God, there is just so much talent on the main roster now that, like,
I know, dude. There's too much.
There's too much to where it's like you can't even like predict or even think of like, oh, they're going to main roster. They're going to main roster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because, you know, if you look at NXT, like if you look at like people like Ricky Saints, Ethan Page, like those are main roster guys, but like they're not going main roster anytime soon.
Right.
It's just because like it's not that there's a spot for them, but there's not a spot for them. You know what I mean? They're gonna do so well excel down there. So even like Trick and Open, you know what I mean? Like those are 4 people I think that could be main roster people, but it's not necessary.
Yeah. Well, I think Trick is on his way there because they just seem to kind of they're doing the same thing with Trick that they did with Braun Breaker right before Braun Breaker's call up. Like he had his big baby face run, but now they're transitioning him into that heel run, and he's kind of got more of a heelish persona now. So I think that maybe that's what they're trying to do, is to kind of broaden his character a little bit before they make that jump. But
well, speaking of which, I mean, if we're trying to avoid like
while Kevin's dog bark, we'll get his point finished here in just a second once they calm down.
The ones there, shut up.
You were saying
Nick Khan talked about how AEW talent, when their contracts they would welcome them. Shut up, Frank.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Who do you see over there? I'll mute real quick and get your opinion. Who do you see over there that could come over and almost fill that void in NXT?
You're talking about AEW talent that on their current roster that could potentially come over and make an impact on NXT? Jack Perry. I mean, I don't know what's going on with him. He didn't come back with the Bucks. I could almost see either Rusev or Malachi or Aleister Black, whatever he chooses to go by. I could almost
supposedly they signed with WWE.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say I could almost see them potentially going to NXT, but
I was thinking Hook and Taz.
Yeah, Hook, especially after the concussion thing. Like I can see, the one thing that really shocked me about that whole was Taz not on commentary.
No, he wasn't.
Because if Taz was on commentary, I guarantee you he would have gotten in that ring, fuck kayfabe, and
he wasn't
tossing motherfuckers.
He wasn't on Dynamite last week either.
Yeah, I can
because the trios match. The thing was it was Hobbs filled in for Hook.
Okay.
So when they won titles, and so I don't know. Like, of course, somebody was like, you know, they're like, I bet after all that, like. Hook and Taz are on their way out. So
yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on what Hook's contract situation looks like.
Even if it wasn't WWE NXT with their partnership with TNA, like Hook would do awesome, I think, in TNA.
Yeah.
And Taz has been in TNA before, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Hook would really benefit from being on NXT. I think he would.
Oh yeah.
He would have one hell of a run there, and it would really help establish him a little bit.
And honestly, like if they could somehow get Taz back, and like if Taz was his mouthpiece and not only his father but his manager,
yeah,
like kind of what they did, but like amplified under the tutelage under Sean and all of them, like Yeah.
Yeah.
Hook, big time to me, just because, like, and we've said it on here 1,000 times. He's a great looking kid. But he's like talent. You know what I mean? Like, the dude, he could work. That's the thing with Hook, is I want to see him work.
Yeah.
I want to see him have a 15, 20-minute banger. You know what I mean? So.
Why are there thumbs popping in and out over your head?
Like, what?
Like every now and again, I just see like a thumbs up emoji and a thumbs down emoji are like popping up into your screen.
Are you serious? How?
I have no idea. I'm just sitting there watching you talk, and like all of a sudden I just see a thumb like this. I was like, for a second I thought maybe like Liam was off camera, like holding a sign, but then I realized it was actually on the screen.
They're emojis?
Yeah, like little thumb up, thumb down emojis are just around you. So
Is somebody watching us doing this or something?
I don't see anybody in the chat. I don't see anybody on as of yet, but sometimes it's a little bit delayed, so I don't know.
What the hell? I don't see anything.
I don't know. It was funny though. Anyway, all right. So outside of Hook, like I said, Jack Perry could be potentially. Sammy Guevara to me would be. I'd say, because Sammy Guevara has just been sitting at home. He's not doing shit right now.
Right.
So and there's been so many, again, start and stops with him. I think Sammy Guevara in NXT would be a huge get for them, and I think that would be huge for Sammy's career as well. But yeah, I mean that's those three maybe right now, but I can't think of anybody else outside of maybe those three that haven't already been there before that I really would see. But honestly, man, I can see a lot of people, when WWE gets through WrestleMania, there's always that time where they release people, into May and June. So I really could see probably a decent sized roster cut just to make room for like Fresh. And that's not a bad thing, you know what I mean? Especially with TNA and with AEW, there's so many other places that people can go now. Like, it's not necessarily a negative thing. It's just more or less, but it's attrition, right? I mean, like you said, they have so many names. We already know of 2 people that are coming in, with a possibility of some more people coming in. And, and you have people in NXT that are ready to do something different. So it's just a matter of time, I think, before, some people end up on the unemployment line, but I guess we'll see. Are your dogs still barking? Or you're still muted?
I'm just, to this point, I'm just kind of
staying muted until you're
staying muted, and kind of when I need to chime in, I could chime in. So,
all right. So then there's gonna be a women's North American Championship ladder match, which should be fun. We got Zarya, Kalani Jordan, Sol Ruka. Dude, a soul snatcher off of a ladder. That's probably gonna happen, right? Izzy Dane, Lola Vice, and Thea Hale was added to it as a surprise last night. So Thea Hale is back. And I gotta think maybe Thea Hale might end up getting the win, but I don't know. We'll see. I'd like it to be Sol Ruka. I'm a huge Sol Ruka fan. Like there's a couple women in NXT, Sol Ruka and Jada Parker, that I'm absolutely huge on. I think both of them are gonna be huge. Let's see. North American Championship, Ricky Saints versus Ethan Page. I mean, they're not gonna take it off of Saints already, right? Like, I feel like
I don't know. They took it off Shawn Spears kind of quick.
They did, yeah. I mean, so it could be a transition champion to put it on Ethan.
But yeah, this is the match this might be the match I'm most looking forward to, or whatever. Because I really dig both of them a lot, and they both have something to prove too. Honestly,
I mean, 2 former AEW guys going head to head at Stand and Deliver, and a big crowd and a big stage. I mean, they could steal the show.
Yeah, that's my thing. Is like, you can't sit there and tell me they're not going to be like, dude, let's go out and
let's just go out and have some fun and kill it. Yeah.
Yeah. Not only like prove to them, but like prove like, hey, like I'm sure they want to. The thing is, I'm sure they want to be main roster guys.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go out and show him.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good point because I mean, you look at Penta went straight to the main roster. Ray Phoenix went straight to the main roster without going to NXT. So I could see the two of them maybe having a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, being guys that were, because you can't really tell me that Penta was that much of a bigger name than. I guess he was, honestly.
They were. I mean, they were. They were tag champs for a while, and
the other problem is like AEW cooled off Ricky and Ethan both before they left a lot. So, and then there's another multi-women match. The women's championships being defended in a fatal four-way. We got Stephanie Vaquer, Julia Jordan. So Julia came back 2 weeks ago randomly. We were talking about how she just disappeared, didn't come back. She came back. So Julia, Jordan Grace, and then Jada Parker found her way into this match. So I mean, it's either going to be a big win for Stephanie Vaquer to like solidify herself as champion, or it's going to move to a Jordan Grace. I don't think Julia gets it back yet. I don't see Jada Parker doing it, but I think this spot gets her over pretty big, even more than what she already is.
Yeah.
So we'll go with that.
I think I can see Jordan Grace winning it.
Yeah, me too. The Juggernaut.
Yeah.
And then finally, we got the NXT Men's Championship match: Obafemi versus Trick Williams and Javon Evans, triple threat. Dude, I would love to see Javon Williams to surprise everybody and win this.
I mean, I can see it too. I mean, there's a lot of multi-matches on this card.
Yeah, there is.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because all the women's matches are multi-matches. The only actual one-on-one match is
Ethan and Ricky.
Ricky, yeah. Yep.
It's crazy. Yeah, I can see him winning it too. Like you said, just out of the blue. But man, I don't know. Like you said, like it's gonna be a tell. If Trick doesn't win, then he might be main roster bound.
Yeah.
So,
I think so too.
So which is cool because you can't really. It's hard to call this one. So
yeah, it is. So yeah, that'll be a fun match. But all right. So we got Stand and Deliver out of the way. We still don't have our fourth, but we can't delay it anymore. Let's get to WrestleMania. So we'll go match by match. Night one, we'll kind of talk about the build and kind of the anticipation for it. Now, I don't know if this is in the order that the matches are supposed to be. I thought they were supposed to put out the card and the order.
So I know it's pretty much confirmed. Opening match is going to be Jay and Gunther. Night one.
Jay and Gunther's going to, okay. So this has it listed as second from the top. So, all right. So we'll start in the order that Yahoo Sports has it, though, and talk about Jade Cargill versus Naomi. So this is pretty historic, man. So this is the first time two female wrestlers have had a one-on-one match not for a title at WrestleMania.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Whoa, I just taught the historian something.
Wow. Can
you think of another one?
One-on-one?
Yeah.
That's hard to say. Not for a title. Well, I mean, Stacy Keibler and Tori Wilson had the pillow fight match or something. Didn't they have something? No, that wasn't one-on-one.
You sure that wasn't for the Divas Championship anyway?
No, I was trying to think. I'm sure it was a bra and panties match or something back then.
that doesn't count.
Oh no, it was supposed to be one-on-one, but then remember the Miller Lite girls? They got involved. That was WrestleMania 19.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Stacy versus Tori, but it ended up being the Miller Lite girls got involved, and they just ended up having like a pillow fight or something like that. It was really bad. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to argue with that. It's probably got to be the first time.
Yeah. So I mean, that's pretty significant. They got a nice personal rivalry to go into it, so I think it will be pretty pretty exciting to see. I think Jade's gonna really show out. Like this is gonna be a coming out party for her. You know, her first one-on-one match at WrestleMania. I think by next year she'll probably be main eventing, you know, or at least winning the Royal Rumble or something like that and going after a title next year by this point. I would imagine.
The only other match I was thinking of was at WrestleMania 2, Fabulous Moolah faced I forget what her name was. She was kind of a semi jobber ladies wrestler, but it might have been for the women's title. I'm gonna have to look that up though. I forget who she faced.
All right, hold
on. But Moolah might have been the champion because she might have taken it off Wendy Richter not too long before that. So Moolah might have been the champion.
All right. So let's see. We had
it would have been in Chicago.
WrestleMania 2. Now we had the Mr. Wonderful versus Don Morocco, Macho Man with Elizabeth versus George the Animal Steel, Jake Roberts, George Wells, Mr. T, Joe Frazier. Yep. Fabulous Moolah defeated Velvet McIntyre to become new champion.
Yeah.
So it was a championship match.
Yeah, okay. The only one I was thinking of, so Velvet McIntyre, yeah.
I fact checked you there. So
no, I figured it was for a title or whatever, but no, that's crazy.
All right, so but what do you think's gonna happen though? Jade gets the win and she's going onward and upward.
Well, that's the thing is because the women's title match, the world title match, is on night 1, right?
No, the WWE Championship match is night 1.
Okay.
So it's Tiffany and Charlotte night 1.
I'm gonna say, what? I think Naomi goes over.
Naomi, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Clean or she cheat?
She cheats.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So
just
Naomi.
A little surprised. Well, God, I don't know. Jade's a badass. No, I think Naomi. Yeah, Naomi cheats. Let's make Jade human. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right. I mean, I think this is Jade's first match back after going through a car windshield that Naomi put her through. I kind of see Jade just squashing her, kicking her ass, but I don't know. We'll see. All right. How about Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano?
I'm gonna go El Grande because I think it's gonna end up being a switcheroo and somebody else is gonna be a surprise or something. I think.
Okay. I mean,
I don't know who or what, but I just feel like there's gonna be some kind of surprise out of it. So
I mean, El Grande Americano is made the most of his cup of coffee in the wrestling business.
Yeah. Hold on. The one time I need you guys to bark, and you fucking don't.
Anyway, so all right, so did you see, like, I read somewhere, I don't know if this is true or not, but apparently they changed where he's from to the Gulf of Mexico. They changed where he's from the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Okay, Kevin's shaking his head. Yeah, I saw that. Okay. All right, so that's interesting. But no, I kind of think El Grande is going to win too, because at this point, what's Rey have to? There's really nothing for Rey to do, right? Like it's not. It's just not like he's Rey Mysterio. He's done literally fucking everything. Like it's Chad Gable's first singles match at WrestleMania. It's a big moment for him, whether he's under a hood or not. But I got to think that he's going to get the win over Rey, right?
Oh, yeah, I think so. Like, whether it's him or there's some kind of, like, stunt double or something, like, some weird happens or whatever, like...
Yeah. Oh, like the Doink thing from WrestleMania 9?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Okay, yes. First, did you watch the documentary?
I did, yes.
Okay.
I did, and that's one of the reasons I didn't watch NXT, because I watched that.
And real quick, Sam Roberts you're a douchebag. Okay. Was the thing cool with the doinks? Yes. But for him to call it one of the greatest finishes in the history of professional wrestling, and he will argue that with anybody, I will argue with that with you, buddy. That's not even in like top 200. Okay. Stop. What an idiot. I'm sorry.
I know. We've had our fun with Sam before on our podcast, and he does tend to over exaggerate things just a bit. But yeah, I'll be honest with you.
It was clever, yeah, but like, come on, like,
yeah, one of the best ever. I don't know. But yeah, it was good. It was definitely good. I will say this though. But just to get off topic now that you brought it up, because I did watch that documentary, and I have never WrestleMania 9 as a kid was always one of my favorite WrestleManias.
right.
And it annoys me that in hindsight it gets so much flack for just bullshit reasons. But it was a really good pay-per-view. There's some really good matches on it. Like there was, the pageantry of it was awesome.
Like last week, I was talking about like, hey, think of like your favorite, best, underrated. I would put it in a top 3, 4, like underrated WrestleMania.
Yeah, and I think part of the problem is people look back at it in hindsight and they're like, oh, that was stupid that Hogan wasn't supposed to be in the match and he won.
And that's all the documentary. That's all the documentary was. The whole documentary was the shit on Hogan thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's all it was. Like. Yeah. Okay, guess what? Like, he was pretty honest with it. Like, no matter what you think of him or whatever, but like, it was like, come on.
And
guess what? You weren't selling anything without him. If he was not on that card at all.
Yeah, the tickets didn't move until his name got attached.
So what does that tell you? Stop being bitter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, thank him for the house and move on. But like, it's there's such negativity surrounding around Hulk Hogan. Like when we were kids, that was fucking awesome. Like that finish was amazing. Like I went crazy for that. No, I thought that was the greatest thing ever.
No, when we were kids, some of us, that was the first WrestleMania I did not order or watch because Hulk Hogan had not been around.
Oh,
okay. Like when he left and he was not around, I kind of semi-stopped watching. I mean, I watched a little bit here and there, back and forth, but that was the first WrestleMania I did not order. I did not have WrestleMania 9 or 10 on, like, I did not order them because there was no Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
And I had no idea he was even going to be on the card till like late, but like by then I wasn't really watching.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what does that tell you?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't remember. So I saw the event, but I don't know if I watched it live or if I watched it on tape after or somebody taped. So I can't remember. There was a couple WrestleManias as a kid that I did watch. That might have been one of them. I can't remember for sure, like exactly. Oh, well, what year was that? 93?
Uh-huh.
Okay. If my parents were still married, I know how I watched it. But I can't remember if they were still married in 93. Or it could have still been because my uncle had a black box. So that might have been, and he lived with us for a while, but it also could have been I could have gone over to his house or something and watched it too. Because I remember watching it and just being, absolutely just flabbergasted with how awesome the whole scenery was, and like laughing at Bobby Heenan as he came out on the back of the camel backward, or the ostrich, whatever he was, backwards and shit like that.
Well, I think the whole theory of like Macho Man punching Hogan.
Yeah, like, I don't think that's
like
true
for Brutus to even like legit say what happened, and like I know him and Hogan had been on the outs.
Yeah.
Plus, Hogan had not seen Savage since like mid 1992, and he literally showed up the day before. And he showed up, with the black eye already.
Yeah.
So how would he have seen? And Macho Man was out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how could that happen?
Yeah.
You
I
know,
don't know.
you
Well,
just
I think they said it happened like the day before, like they ran into each other the day before and got into it or something like that.
I
But
I believe that.
yeah, I don't think so either. So I don't know if maybe because Savage made comments on commentary about it, like knowing what happened or something like that. So maybe people kind of took that and ran with it. And like I said, I mean, everything Hulk Hogan has ever done gets looked at. You go back and look at it with 2025 goggles, and it gets completely washed
No,
out.
no. I will admit Hogan does flabbergast 99% of his stuff,
Oh, he lies about stuff. Yeah, I'm just saying though, like
but
I'm just
I
saying,
think
like people look at him in such a different light now that they go back and look at stuff from the past with their glasses on from 2025 as opposed to thinking about it how you felt about it in that moment when you were a kid. Like to me, that finish was amazing. Like I loved it. Like I liked Brett and I liked that the fact that Yoko won and then was so overconfident he challenged Hogan to squash him too,
right,
and it was and then slipped on a banana peel and Hogan dropped the leg, right? Like that's like it was really well done, and as a kid I loved it. Like I thought it was fantastic.
right.
So I mean, I just that'll to me that will never be a pro. Like that will never be a bad pay per view. Like I thought Sean and Tatanka was awesome.
Dude, that match was awesome.
The Steiners and Head Shrinkers was awesome. I mean, there's some great fucking matches on that card, and I even loved, like, even though I'm sure I know he hated it, but I loved what Undertaker and Giant Gonzalez did, like that whole thing where he
Yeah,
chloroformed him and then he left and came back and stuff
that
like
was
that.
cool. Yeah,
Like that was cool. Like that was, and then he all of a sudden he was like a different guy and just kicked the shit out of him. Like it was awesome. But anyway, um, yeah, so we were talking about Rey Mysterio and El Grande Americano and
yeah.
somehow ended up on this. Oh, thanks to the double doink thing with the double El
Yes.
Grandes, yeah. But anyway, so now we got the U.S. Championship match, LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu, and this gotta be Jacob Fatu's moment, right? Like,
Yeah, unless something happens with Solo or something does something, or
yeah, that's
it's
true.
it's the only thing I can see out of that. Outside of that, like, yeah, it's gotta be Jacob Fatu. But it could lead to eventually something with him and Solo. I don't think it needs to happen here. So
Yeah, I would agree with you. It probably doesn't have to happen right now, but yeah, I'd still like to see Jacob win the championship. And LA Knight's done a great job with it, but I think it's about time for LA Knight to elevate to maybe like a world championship type picture or something like that. At least kind of dabble around there. Maybe drop that U.S. title and kind of elevate Solo. So. War Raiders versus the New Day World Tag Team Championships. We talked about it a little bit. Do you think Big E somehow gets involved in this in some way?
I'm not banking on it, but that'd be cool. But I guess
Yeah.
I'm not banking on it. So,
I mean, I think a heel New Day
but
could.
I think New Day does need to be the tag champs. So.
Yeah, I think they could elevate that tag division by having a heel New Day tag. And then we got Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte. What do you think of what they did on SmackDown last week, saying that, acknowledging like basically that they said inappropriate things, saying that they fined them both, and then Charlotte got sent home and suspended just for her to show up like
And attack her in the
dressed
parking lot.
completely down and well, she
Yeah.
attacked her in the arena too. She showed up and
Yes.
attacked her in the
Yes,
arena
that too.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's perfect. It's perfectly done. Like, whether it's all been planned or not or whatever, like, they kind of helped semi save it, I guess.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not crazy interested in this. But my guess is Charlotte's gonna win.
Yeah. And I think that might be where part of the problem is for some people that maybe not aren't too excited about this match. I think it's because you know Charlotte's going to win that and I think I think people aren't ready to see Tiffany lose it yet. I think is the problem.
Right.
I think people are enjoying Tiffany as the world champion. or the WWE Women's Champion, and that, you know, of course, we're just gonna have another Charlotte. But I think honestly, what's better for the championship would be Charlotte winning it and having Tiffany chase her, having building up somebody to chase her for that championship. Have her be a Flair, right?
Yeah.
Start doing 60-minute Broadways or something. I don't know, but then we got the World Heavyweight Championship match: Gunther versus Jey Uso. Man, it's got to be Yeatlemania, right? Like started off crazy with Jey winning that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see any other way around it.
Yeah, at this point, I think it's got to happen. I almost kind of wonder too, like if it would be, since it's not with Roman. Like remember when Jimmy showed up and pulled the referee out to cost Jey the championship. What if he did the same thing, but this time it was when Gunther had him pinned, and they kind of do a little throwback to that or something like that?
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I'm trying to think of scenarios too of like of somebody or something costing Jey.
Yeah, I mean, it could be like Kaiser is always, you know, he's always somebody that could involve himself, being with his association with Gunther, even though they haven't on camera for a while.
Honestly, who I could see coming back is Ilya Dragunov.
Oh, yeah. They could,
because
like,
those
maybe,
two could have a feud that does not need a title.
yeah. Huh.
So,
well, I was thinking on the other side of it though, what if Ilya joins up with Gunther and Ludwig, and we have a different looking Imperium?
yeah.
I mean, you can even throw Pete Dunne in there, dude. What a fucking dominant faction that would be. You ain't fucking with any of them.
No.
Wow. Huh. Interesting. All right. Anyway.
You're getting chopped, bit, bent. and then DM slid into.
Chop, split, and bent. Or spit. Did you say spit? Chop, spit,
No,
and bent?
I don't even remember now. But
chop, slit.
Yeah, just stop.
And bent, and then slid in the DMs. Anyway, all right. Then we got the main event of night one, the triple threat match: Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, with the wild card of Paul Heyman. Man, this one's too hard to call. I can really see it going any way possible. Like, you can make an argument for any of those three to win this match.
Yeah, I mean, I hope Punk. Honestly, I kind of hope Punk wins. I'm more and more not liking Seth Rollins, especially some of his interviews and stuff he's done lately. I don't know. I don't think I'm really liking him as a person much. And I don't think Roman needs to win. I think more than anybody, it just depends. Like, does Paul side with Seth after all this? Yeah, I don't know. Does he side with Seth, and then does that turn into something night two with Seth aligning with maybe Cena and Rock or something? I don't know. There's so many things that could happen go with it, but
I mean, I could make an argument why Roman needs to, just because he really is kind of reestablishing himself in a way, and he hasn't had a lot of big win. Like, the last big memorable thing, he beat Solo, but the last big memorable thing was his loss last year at WrestleMania. So maybe reestablishing himself as that top guy, beating the other two top guys.
Do they all just at the end of the night align and become the new Shield?
Yeah, there you go. The one part of that story though that I think would have been interesting if they would have told is that the Shield was Punk's idea.
Mm-hmm.
But Roman was the one he didn't want. because when he pitched it, it was Seth, Ambrose, and Cassius Ohno.
Yeah.
Vince made the call to switch out Cassius Ohno for Roman Reigns. So I'm like, why? I'm surprised that they didn't kind of bring that up or touch on that, in a way. Like, yeah, you created the Shield, or you put us together, but I was the one you didn't want, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I just felt like that's something that it's a little inside baseball, but I think that they could have maybe added that personal touch to it, because that's the one thing, like, other than Punk stealing his wise man, there wasn't like a whole lot of personal animosity so much between the two of them that they've really like explained verbally. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I don't
So,
know. I can't really even say I have a prediction, really, because it's such a toss-up.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, my gut's telling me Seth. Like, there's something that's gonna happen that's gonna end up being Seth. But I mean, I'm with you though. I'd rather it be Punk. And I don't know if you've seen Punk's WrestleMania T-shirt, but it's fucking awesome.
I haven't seen it yet, no.
It's like his hands with the X's, but he's holding like a deck of like 4 aces or something like that in the one hand.
Nice.
Stuff. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's kind of a throwback to some of his his older shirts too. But yeah. All right. So then night 2 looking pretty interesting. We got the AJ Styles Logan Paul match. I mean, Logan's got the better of him a couple of times, which kind of leads you to think that AJ's going to win. But man, I kind of think that Logan, especially if they're going to if they're going to elevate Logan and actually have him do something of significance, I feel like Logan's gotta win this match, right? I don't think he's won a WrestleMania match yet, and he's had some pretty big ones.
Yeah, I can see him. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Logan winning this, just because AJ's just one of those guys that, like, win or lose, it doesn't hurt him or help him, I guess. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see Logan winning.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be like I just don't really see another way around it for Logan. I mean, although Logan, I guess technically doesn't need it either. Like, he's going to be Logan Paul no matter what, and people are going to still feel the same way about him. So
This is one of those fantasy matches that I wish they would just make it like a Will Ospreay versus like Takeshita match, where they're just, if you put me, do this instead of me flat backing, I land on my feet, and everything I land on my feet, and I flip, and I land on my feet, and I land on my feet, and I kick out at one, I kick out at one, I land on my feet, and I land on my feet, and never hit a spot ever.
That's what you're looking for in this one?
That's what I'm looking for. Make a little mock of that.
All right, then we're going to move on to the Sin City Street Fight as Kevin turns on his vibrator. Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. I don't know. I heard like a real loud, like, buzzing sound.
Dishwasher.
Oh, okay. All right, so we got Sin City Street Fight, Priest versus McIntyre. I mean, that's another toss-up, man. There's really no telling who's going to win this match.
I think it's gonna be McIntyre.
McIntyre? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll probably agree with you. I guess I should probably be like keeping track of these like we usually do, but I have not.
Yeah, it's all right.
So my bad. And we never had the third person join us either, so there's that. And we're getting close to that hour mark. Oh, I'm looking forward to this one. The Intercontinental Championship Fatal 4-Way, Braun Breaker, Dominic, Penta, and Finn Balor. Dude, Dominic's got to fucking win this, right?
Oh, he's totally pinning Finn and winning the title.
Yeah. I mean, I heard a couple people discussing it. I can't remember who on it. I think it might have been like O'Shea Jackson and whoever he does his show with. But they were talking about it, and I was like, yeah, man, like it's got to be Dominic. Like, how fucking badass would that be? I don't know. I just think Dominic would be great to win it, and then be that chicken shit heel champion for a while with it, and then move on Braun to something else. Then you got the women's tag team championship match: Liv and Raquel versus Bayley and Lyra. I think Liv and Raquel retain there.
Yeah.
And then Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair for the Women's World Championship. Triple threat.
I think Naomi comes out and helps Bianca.
Okay.
And Bianca wins the title.
Do you think Naomi will be alive to be able to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just going to destroy Jade's ass.
Okay.
Remember?
Destroy Jade's ass, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
I think Jade might have something to say about that. Before we get to the main event of night 2, so Randy Orton is supposed to have a match. There's rumors that it might be an open challenge, which could lead to a Miro or Malachi or Solo, I guess could be the one. Like Solo was the one who interrupted him with a microphone on SmackDown. And he did tease the Nick Aldis thing, and it did get a reaction from the crowd.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool, because somebody literally the other day shared a video of we talked about last week, that match at All In, him and Cody.
Yeah,
and they're like, for people who don't remember, like, here's like a 5-minute highlight clip of Aldis versus Cody at All In. And this was only 5-6 years ago or 7 years ago, whatever. And he wrestled a lot after that too.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But like this, he's still in the same shape. He's in great shape, and I'm sure he can go. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, I'd like to see it. But I like to actually see them. It doesn't have to be long.
Yeah,
8-10 minutes, right?
Yeah, just get them out there
Just
and
get some stuff in or whatever. So
yeah,
All
right, so Nick Aldis, I'm gonna guess it's probably one of the 2 AEW returns, and they're just kind of throwing everybody off. This kind of feels like what they did with Seth and Cody, where you kind of knew that it was one of them, but they were trying to do other things to make you think that it wasn't going to be him.
I'd almost like to see Nick Aldis come off heelish out of this and say, you know what I mean? Like, you think it's me, but like, here it is. So
yeah, I would say it probably would be Malachi out of all of them, just to kind of give him that.
They've been teasing him. It seems like a lot more than anything.
Yeah. So that's the way that I feel it's probably going to go. Get Malachi in there and find a way to kind of put him over. Be maybe an opponent for Randy now that Kevin Owens is out of the picture. But also, it's going to be real curious to see what happens in the Undisputed Championship match with Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. I mean, I got to think at some point. I mean, I know WrestleManias usually go home happy, but I got to think that John's going to win the match.
It's usually go home happy, but not really, because Roman, you know what I mean?
That's true. Roman was a heel like the last 5 years. Like Cody, we went home happy on 40, but before that it was Roman. Now Roman, I mean, he was a heel, but at the same time he was also Roman.
Yeah, I mean, Brock won't. You know what I mean? Brock.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? It's gonna depend, because if The Rock does come back, right, and there's some interference or something's going on or whatever.
Yeah.
The only thing I am speculating and waiting for is that glass shattering, because he's around the area.
Yep.
He's been cited around the area, so
he's there for the Hall of Fame too. So he's already there because they're doing the Hall of Fame thing.
So,
which, do you realize the Hall of Fame's not going to air until midnight our time?
Really?
Or actually, it's probably gonna be like,
huh? I thought it was 10.
It's 10 Pacific time.
Oh, so that's 1:00.
Yeah. Yeah, they're airing it at 10 Pacific time. So in our time zone, it's going to be late.
I got work in the morning, so
because they got to do it, because they have to do it that way, because you got the you got SmackDown, which on the East Coast is over at 8:00. So if they want to do the Hall of Fame live, they would have to wait until 10 because that. Well, I don't know. Wait, never mind. That doesn't make sense.
No, I think it's 7:00 there. Well, the Las Vegas is not Pacific time; they're Mountain time. They were only 2 hours behind us.
Okay.
I believe. So if they started at even if they started at 11 our time, it's gonna be like 9:00 their time.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but it does say 10 Pacific, like it's going to air 10 Pacific. That's what they kept putting on the unless they had a typo on their graphic, but that's what the graphic said on Raw last night. So, yeah, I don't know. It was weird. But yeah, man, like Cody and John, yeah, The Rock's got to have some sort of involvement, and I think maybe SmackDown he'll make an appearance. Like, there's got to be some appearance of his before the match at WrestleMania, whether it's night one they do something or something along those lines. But then it's going to be who's that third person that Rock's kind of tease with the throat slashes, but I don't know, man. I really don't know.
I think Cena wins.
Yeah, I think Cena wins too. So, and he's going to hold that belt, and
I think he's going to hold the rest. I think he's going to hold it. Yeah, I think he is too, or he's going to hold the rest of the year. Yeah.
I think he'll lose it before he's finally done, but yeah, he'll probably hold it until that point, until his last pay-per-view.
Yep.
But anyway, now you got me yawning, fucker.
Sure.
So Undisputed Championship match. We got John Cena winning that one. So this can be fun, man. I'm looking forward to WrestleMania, and I'm gonna try to do what I can to come watch night one with you. So it's funny. Michael lives, I think, closer to you now than he does to me. So maybe we can even get his ass to come out or something. But
yeah, I mean,
I'll see. We'll see what happens. But I'm gonna do my best to make it over there. And then night 2 is gonna be a little rough because it's Easter Sunday. We're gonna have a house full of people. But if you want to sneak yourself over here to watch it, I won't be mad at you. And we'll find a way. But it starts at 7:00 Eastern both nights, and yeah, man, WrestleMania 41. It's gonna be big, Las Vegas. So I'm looking forward to seeing the set. Especially how awesome the set was for WrestleMania 9.
I mean, the latest leak I saw, it looks pretty. It looks pretty sweet. Yeah, the latest leak I saw, like they don't have any ringside chairs set up, but the ring is set up. And
can you imagine if they pay homage to the start of 9 and they have people riding out on elephants and on camels, and McAfee will be riding the ostrich backwards.
But see, I don't know if I think this one's more because that was more like Roman Coliseum type theme.
Yeah, because it was a Caesar's Palace.
This is more like I think like casino type like themed.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of the LEDs, like it looks like there's like a lot of LEDs and stuff even above the ring. They're just like multicolored and stuff.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, when they first saw the first construction of it, they're like, "Oh my god, look how high up it is!" So they thought the ramp was going to be deep, but that's not the ramp. That was just the hovering of where they're coming out.
Wow.
So basically behind it is
it's like all a big slot machine, probably.
Yeah, something like that. Like it's all tarped off behind it. But the ramp isn't up as high, but it's a little bit of a slope. I mean, you can look them up, but it looks like it's very slot machine-ish type. Like
last year they debuted the set on SmackDown. I got a feeling they'll probably do that again this year because I think they want to get ahead out of a lot of people leaking what it looks like and just show it themselves.
Right.
So I can see that being the thing where they will show it on SmackDown and be like, hey, look at what the set looks like, and have somebody take a tour of it and stuff like that.
Right.
So remember last year, Orton and KO had that tag match against Theory and Waller, and Theory and Waller were at the stadium at the link, and then KO and Kevin were KO and Randy were at Wells Fargo, and they took a golf cart and drove over to Lincoln Financial to like go get
Yes.
the two of them, and then they got there, they weren't there, and then they drove the same golf cart, I think, onto WrestleMania the next night.
Because Owens backed it all the way up, and then he drove him down it. Orton's like,
yeah, that's right. That's funny. But any other news and notes before we wrap this up?
No, I guess my only other thing or prediction of it is that everybody has talked about, oh, this seems like such an underwhelming card. Well, I think it's like that for a reason.
Yeah.
I just what's great is I have no idea. I have no speculation. I have no rumor and no. I feel like there's something coming out of this.
Yeah.
There's got to be.
And I don't think it's an underwhelming card either. Like every single match has a personal rivalry, has a story behind it. I mean, they got their biggest stars are in this, and I mean, you got Cody and John Cena, you got freaking Seth, Roman, and Punk, like Gunther and Jay, like you got all your top stars all have matches,
and that's okay. And that's okay to have like, not every match needs to be a potential 5-star classic,
right?
You got your main events. You got your, you know what I mean? You got your one that's definitely opening the show to get it going. And then outside of that, like you said, you got some here and there, whatever, but that's okay because you want that anticipation of, ooh, these main events, the triple threat, and then night 2's main event. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you don't want to be exhausted and be like, yeah, fuck that. You know what I mean? I feel like it's done like that on purpose. So,
yeah,
I mean, like I said, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting. Hey, real quick thing, I don't know if you know this or not. Saraya or Paige has her own podcast. She left AEW. So she's no longer with them, but she's kind of taking a break from wrestling at the moment to pursue other things. But her podcast is one of them, and her book is out, and there's an audio version of it which she narrates. So I enjoyed listening to her podcast so much, I started listening to her audio version of her book, and she talks about a lot of things. So, you know, kind of the real story of her life and how things got made. The only thing that was interesting is that she completely omitted her entire relationship with Alberto. That was the only. I mean, she's very open and honest about a lot of things and gives you a lot of detail into her background. But that was the one thing that I was surprised was not in there. Is that during that really trying time in her life, she talked about her struggles through it, but did not talk about the fact that she was with him and what else came about that time because of that.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if there's some kind of NDA type thing, you know.
Yeah, it could be a possibility. Or you know, maybe they have some sort of understanding or something like that. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. But the whole reason, like, it was funny because, you know, Michael and I was wishing he would hop on, but we used to play a lot of Grand Theft Auto online, and one of the radio stations, it was like the pop radio station, had a DJ that would like talk between songs, and she had a British accent, and Michael would always joke that it was Paige, and he was like, "Oh, here's Paige with that sexy accent" or something like that. So he liked that, you know, he likened that girl to Paige. So then I started listening to her podcast. I was like, Michael, you got to check this out. It's just like the radio host from that GTA pop radio. So you want to hear it? Here you go. But yeah, so I enjoyed listening to that, and I've been enjoying listening to her book. And then we already talked about the WrestleMania 9 documentary, and I did see the Vader Dark Side of the Ring. If you watch that,
I did see that. It was okay. Whatever.
It kind of painted him in a bit of a light. The one thing that I don't like about kind of how they do that, like they don't necessarily hold the person accountable. in a way. Like, like WWE was blamed for a lot of shit in there, but a lot of that was Vader not doing what he was supposed to be doing. Like, they tried to do what they could to get him in shape and get him to lose weight because he wasn't the same guy. But a big part of that is he wasn't very mobile when he was in
Yeah.
WWE. And he was sneaking chicken in. He didn't take it seriously. He didn't get in shape. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so what are they supposed to do with him? I don't know. It just, to me, it just seemed like they do a lot of blaming, but they don't necessarily like they make it seem like it's not also the person's fault. You know what I mean? Like, he made choices that could have made things better for him. It
Yeah.
wasn't just because he was from
He,
WCW and they wanted to bury him. You know what I mean?
the thing is, like, once he lost the title to Flair at Starrcade '93, like, things slowly start going downhill for them.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was kind of like the same thing with like Yokozuna. You know what I mean? Like, the funny thing is, those two were champion.
The fuck did Kevin go? He was muted and his thing disappeared. That was weird. All right. Well, I lost Kevin. Not sure what happened to him, but we were just in the process of closing out the show anyway. So it doesn't really matter too much. He's just not going to be here, I guess, for the ending. We can get his take on Vader when we return next week for next week's episode. So hopefully you enjoyed listening to us. Hope you had a good time. Hopefully you enjoy WrestleMania. I know I will. We'll talk more about WrestleMania next week when we join you guys, and we'll kind of break down what happened, give our opinions, and all that. If I don't know if we'll be able to record like a reaction to it, so you might have to wait till Thursday or Friday when the podcast drops to hear our takes. But at least we'll have the Raw after WrestleMania 2 that we'll be able to talk about and anything that happens on that as well. But you can follow us at Live Your Gimmick on X. That's the @ symbol followed by LIVYOURGIMMICK. And you can also find us on any platform that you listen to on podcast. We got a video version on Spotify and on YouTube. So make sure you leave a comment and leave a follow and all that fun stuff. And we'll catch you next week. So for Kevin, who left us, I'm Jason, reminding you all out there to be a fan and live your gimmick. And happy WrestleMania. Goodbye.